Laura Loomer, walk me through, first off, the facts of the case of this situation you unearthed in California, ma'am.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for having me on, Steve. And just a few days ago at 1 o'clock in the morning on 4th of July, I published internal emails sent from California GOP chairwoman Jessica Patterson, who, of course, is one of Kevin McCarthy's lapdogs. And this email was sent to the RNC chair people in California. That's Harmeet Dillon and Sean Steele. And on this email, you can see it's a proposed bylaw amendment change to the rules regarding delegate allocation for the presidential primary in the state of California. Why does this matter? Well, California has the most delegates out of any state in the country. They have 169 delegates. And generally speaking, the way it's always worked in California is you have a winner-takes-all delegate process where whoever gets majority, right, over 50% gets all of the delegates. But this proposed bylaw change that Jessica Patterson secretly tried to push through, and this was never reported to the public. This was never conveyed to the local GOPs in California. No, they tried to do this in secret behind closed doors, and they were going to vote on it at their executive meeting on July 29th until I blew the whistle. This would allocate delegates up to upwards of 50 to 55 of the delegates that would have been allocated to the winner of the primary in California to second place. And of course, right now, with the current polling in our country, it shows that Ron DeSantis is in second place. He's about 40 points behind President Donald Trump. But of course, this was always their plan. And you talked about going back to 2015 and 2016. And I know that you're aware of this. This is exactly what the Never Trumpers and Ted Cruz's team tried doing on the floor of the convention.
Okay, hang on. I was just talking to the team before this started. Loomer's exactly correct. I want to go back in time because it's the same playbook. And a lot of people say, oh, no, they're misinterpreting. No, we're not misinterpreting anything. And I want to get to the heart of the matter because the heart of the matter is, and President Trump doesn't have time to deal with this. President Trump's trying to save America, save the world. He's got enough on his plate. You see what he deals with every day? And he's got these crazy people coming down and trying to put another 100 indictments on him. I think they've already got him in prison for 500 years. You look what he's dealing with. He doesn't have time for this minutia. It's very important. Let's go back in time. Trump's winning every primary, but they're not focused. His team at the time is not focused on the delegate count. Yeah. This is why when they got to the convention in Cleveland, there was it was Ted Cruz, Mike Lee, and Ken Cuccinelli. And look, they had their own idea of doing it, but they basically had a plan that, hey, you may have won all the primaries and you may have won the caucuses and you may have won Colorado and Louisiana, but your team didn't understand the rules. And we're going to fight it out for delegates because it's delegates that count. If you win New Hampshire with 57% of the vote, by the time you get to the convention, nobody cares about the 57% of the vote. They care about how many delegates you got, and that's what's going to count. Laura's exactly right. And here, let's cut to the chase. And I don't want to hear the mumbo jumbo. Oh, you got this, that being, oh, no, proportion's okay, and Trump's okay with it. Trump ain't okay with it. Okay, trust me. He put out a thing the other day, hey, winner take all. I win, I get them all, right? That's the business he's in. And what Laura was able to unearth here, and you're going to hear all the jargon, you got the RNC jargon, the state party jargon, it's all jargon. It doesn't get to the heart of it. The heart of it, we shouldn't even be having this. We don't have time to have it. We're a nation. China's at war with us. The economy is melting down. You're printing more money. Thomas Massey's got the gall to sit there and go, yeah, this is what happens when you do $5 trillion of COVID spending. Hey, brother, you gave McCarthy the green light to have this debacle to allow Biden to spend $15 trillion in 2 years and run up at least a $4 trillion, probably a $5 or $6 trillion more debt. Right. Thomas Massey. Thomas Massey in Kentucky. But here's the problem. Laura, here's the problem I get when you expose this. Mm-hmm. At first, they said Trump's people knew about it and they approved it, and there was a couple of days where there was no response from the Trump campaign. What is going on? We can't get into a situation like in 15 and 16 where nobody's watching the shop and you're going to end up with a delegate fight. Right. Did Trump's team sign off on this? Yes or no? To your reporting, did Trump's team sign off? And if they did sign off, who's the individual that initially signed off on this?
Yeah, so his actual team, right, which consists of multiple advisors, was not made aware of this until I published my report. And then, as you just said, there were people online posting misinformation saying that, yes, his team knew about it. No, one advisor with close ties to Kevin McCarthy, a.k.a. Brian Jack, does not count as the entire Trump team. And people better listen up right now, because the fact of the matter is they are preparing Donald Trump to have his nomination stolen from him on the floor of the convention with a scheme to steal these delegate votes if they don't get it together and stop giving President Trump the information that he needs. We knew that Kevin McCarthy was going to stab President Trump in the back, and every single advisor who works for President Trump who has ties to Kevin McCarthy, including Brian Jack, should be ousted. It's unacceptable. And how many more times are we just going to sit here and allow for President Trump to get burned? It's time for these McCarthy loyalists to be shoved out of Trump's inner circle.
Okay, hang over a second. I know Florida came out today with this thing about if President Trump doesn't think about this for a second. This is a guy before he's president of the United States in his very first debate, with all the pressure that would be, because he's up against, remember, 16 of the best. You got Rand Paul, you got Marco Rubio, you got Jeb Bush. This is in every Ted Cruz, in every vertical that put $1 billion in for 20 years. They got the best guy, best man or woman sitting right there. Trump in his first debate, in the first question they asked him, very first question, you going to sign a pledge? I don't think so. I'll review it. I'll check out who the candidate is. But why do you say that there's an effort underway to steal at the convention? What evidence do you have of that, ma'am?
Well, they're trying to make all of these rule changes. And as you said, this is the same playbook. And who was the main culprit of this on the floor of the convention in 2016? That was Ken Cuccinelli, who has been put in charge of the Ron DeSantis Never Back Down PAC. Ken Cuccinelli. It's the same people. Even if you look at the California GOP, the former California GOP chairman was Ted Cruz's 2016 campaign spox for his presidential campaign. And with regards to Florida, Steve, a lot of people don't know this. Another exclusive story I broke 2 weeks ago that, nobody seems to want to talk about is the fact that the Florida GOP is rigging this election for Ron DeSantis. Did you know that the vice chair of the Florida GOP, Evan Power, his wife is literally the CFO, the chief financial officer for the Ron DeSantis for President campaign? How the hell are you supposed to be neutral in a primary when your wife is going to make possibly millions of dollars of its commission-based fundraising on the Ron DeSantis for President campaign? And yet nobody wants to talk about this. How many voters in Florida know this?
Okay. Hang on. We got a minute to break. I want to hold you through. Give me 30 seconds on why do you say they're trying to rig it for DeSantis?
Well, they're trying to change the rules. They know from 2016, as you just said, that President Trump is not going to sign a loyalty oath. And so now not only are they requiring a loyalty oath to debate, but they're saying to even be on the ballot in the state of Florida. So given what you know about President Donald Trump and his personality and the way that he handled this in 2016, they're trying to use the 2016 playbook as a repeat to undermine the 2024 election, steal delegates from Donald Trump, and steal the nomination through last-minute rules changes. It's very obvious. All the key states with the highest number of delegates are doing last-minute rule changes.
Laura, just hang on for 1 second. We'll take a short break, and we'll have her back. Laura's going to join us on the other side. Loomer. Harmeet kind of came out in so many words, and I don't want to frame this too, but so many words said you were correct. Am I wrong in saying what her response was?
Yeah, so after she initially denied what I was saying and accused me of pushing out fake news and misinformation and, said that it was a fake news report, then she kind of, I guess, was forced, right, after so many people realized I was right and that these emails are legit. She issued an email statement where she said that she regrets that the RNC or the California GOP didn't disclose this information to the public and the delegates ahead of time, and that she actually supports the winner-take-all strategy. And then she tried to distance herself from Jessica Patterson, of course, and Sean Steele by saying, oh, I don't speak for them. And that's great and all. Yeah, okay, if she wants to come out with a statement, but it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, Steve, if they vote on this, if they still have their meeting on the 29th of July and Jessica Patterson pushes that through, that's all that's going to happen. And then it's going to be changed. Patriots need to be aware.
Yeah. Hang on. I want to say we're going to do part of tomorrow's show is going to be a special on precinct strategy. We're going to have some of the people that are big believers in the precinct strategy and done this. We're also going to talk about news coming out of big stories coming out of Michigan and Arizona that says, hey, since Christine Caramo and the precinct strategy people took over Michigan, since there's been more of a precinct strategy takeover in Arizona, that the donors' money's drying up. So this is a complicated topic. We're going to get to the bottom of all of it. Mm-hmm. What Loomer's bringing up and what she's been talking about, what her reporting has done, there's two broad things of politics. There's content, and that's Trump and rallies and policies and leadership. But then there's process. And the reason that the elites have these factotums and operatives that continue to control the apparatus, as one of the war room engine room has just sent me, process, also often boring and quite technical, and your eyes, you start going to sleep. What Loomer's been doing is going through and saying, hey, this is what happened in 15 and 16. Trump had the content. He had people in back of him. He built momentum. People forget, in the first couple of days, before the convention started, in the first day of the convention, it was an open question whether Donald Trump was going to be the nominee or not, okay? Mike Lee and Ted Cruz are not dumb people, and they had very smart people working around them, and you're seeing the replay right now. Real quickly, Laura, are there any? Can you show us anything? Can you give us a heads up on anything you're working on in this area? Because I know you're doing a nationwide search and destroy on this.
Yeah, so we're just going scorched earth on the GOP and exposing all these rhinos, and I'll be going through the FEC reports that when they drop on the 15th to go through with a fine-tooth comb and analyze who's propping Ron DeSantis and his pack up so that you can know who these donors are. Because as you said, Steve, it's all about the donors. I'm also releasing a video today about as I call it, the Real Housewives of the Florida GOP, which compromises the Florida GOP chairman and vice chair. And it explains how the primary is going to be rigged for DeSantis. And every single day, we're confronting people, calling people out, and holding them accountable.
Okay, last thing. McCarthy, this lead story in Politico. Do you buy this, that McCarthy's trying to make sure there's not a civil war with all those really radical, those really hardcore moderates? Are you buying that about the non-endorsement of Trump?
Oh, yeah, because we're really going to have a war with all these limp-wristed Republicans in Congress that can't even fight back against sending $200 billion to Ukraine, right? Look, okay, none of these Republicans have fight in them. And Kevin McCarthy's just full of it. His son works for Joe Lonsdale, who's a DeSantis mega donor. I just exposed last week, as you talked about on your show, McCarthy directing his big donors in California to have fundraisers for DeSantis. I mean, what the hell? When is Marjorie Taylor Greene going to tell her best friend, Kevin McCarthy, to endorse her friend, Donald Trump, if she's so MAGA as she claims? Okay. Right? I want to get a shot
in there. Okay. Laura, where do people go into your social media to get more of this?
So you can follow me on Twitter, Truth Social, Gab and Getter at Laura Loomer. But please be sure you subscribe to my Substack, lauraloomer.substack.com, where you can read all of these exclusive reports. And you just need to see these people for who they are, because they're trying to steal the election through process. They know that Americans and that the voters are alert and aware of mail-in ballot fraud and social media censorship. So they're going to try to do it through technicalities and political tricks through political process. And you have to be aware.
Loomer, thank you very much for joining us, and fight on.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Yeah, you know me, not going to stop fighting, Steve. Thank you.
Oh, do I ever. Thank you, ma'am.
'Cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take